let's get started. So here we go. All right. Area of a circle, circumference of a circle, all of these notes here. We're going to take these notes down. But really what's more important, it's really the fundamentals. So before we even get started on this, I'm going to go ahead and ask everybody, if you're writing all of this down, do me a favor, just pause for a moment. Pause for a moment. Go below what you're writing, and we're going to talk about the fundamentals here. Let's talk about the fundamentals. So over here, so please, again, don't write really quick. Just don't write. Let's just go over the fundamentals so you understand what's going on. So let's go ahead and just take a look at this circle here. All right. When it comes to the radius and the diameter of a circle, hear me out. Again, we're just going to go through the basics. Radius and diameter are related. They are directly related. But let me go ahead and just ask you, or not ask you, but tell you. Radius, here's what it is. Radius is basically the distance from the center of the circle to the circle itself. That's it. From the middle to the edge. That's all it is. The radius of a circle is the center to the edge. Center to the edge. Center to the edge. Center to the edge. It can go in any direction. It's going to be the same in any direction at all. So again, let's write this down here. The radius is, again, the distance from the center to the edge. The distance from the center to the edge. And if you're asking which edge, any edge, because if it's a circle, by definition, literally, it's perfectly circular. So it's the same distance no matter which way you go. Okay? Now, with that said, radius is the half sibling. Yeah, it is. So with that, everybody, if we look at the word diameter, let me just ask you this. Everybody, if we're studying word knowledge here, there's a prefix di. Everybody, if you know, what does the prefix di mean? Look at that. Melissa coming in hot saying di equals 2. Muhammad means double. Parmita, double. Cameron, 2. Marie, double. Andy, double. Chinasa, 2. Andy, 2. Christian, 2. Then Kesha, 2. And then everybody else is saying 2. I can't catch up. So with that, everybody, when I tell you that radius and diameter are related, it's this. The radius is literally from the center to the edge. Diameter is 2 of those. That's what it is. The diameter is 2 of the radius. So if you think about it, oh, sweet. Yeah, here's one of the radii. And then here's another. And that's what a diameter is. Basically, the diameter is going end to end on the circle. You just have to go through the middle. So basically, diameter, double the radius, and you do that by basically going through the circle, through the middle. That's it. That's really it. So with that, let me go ahead and just draw that again. If I start over here and I wanted to draw a diameter, I would literally go ahead, draw a straight line all the way through, but you just have to go through the middle. That is it. So one more time, let's write that out here. Diameter is double the radius. Okay, diameter is double the radius. All right, the diameter is double the radius. So again, formally speaking, basically, it's the distance from end to end on a circle passing through the center. So I'm going to write this formally now. So the distance end to end of the circle passing through the middle. Passing through the center. That's the formal way of saying it. But seriously, you can just say double the radius. That's really all it is. But I'm saying this on purpose, though, the formal way, again, going end to end, passing through the middle, because you're going to have word problems that are going to say, hey, Two people are staring at each other on a circular lake and they're on opposite ends. That's diameter all day. Like there are clues that are going to be given to you in these word problems. And all I want to do is prepare you by helping you talk about this in English. Radius from the middle to the edge. Diameter from edge to edge, but you have to go to the middle. Radius, center to edge, diameter, double that. That's it. That is it. All right. And so with that said, give me a yes or good to go in the chat box if you are good to go from that first piece of information. Right on. And I'll give you guys an extra 10 seconds because I know some people are still writing, so it's okay. And for those of you that are just joining us now, thank you for taking time out of your evening to join us. Really do appreciate having you here. If you are joined a little late, take a screenshot if you need to. That way we can ensure that you can get your notes for sure. So with that said, now let's start breaking out, okay? Now let's start breaking out and let's start learning about these other bigger ideas because it's really just 4 things, guys. Really just 4 things. Radius, diameter, circumference, area. Those are the only 4 things. So with that said, don't worry, Dana, I'm going to go through one more run through before we move on. So here, the area of a circle. Let's go ahead and zoom on in just a little bit here. The area of a circle. Everybody, before I even talk about the formula for area, help me out real quick. What's area of any shape? How would you describe the area of any shape? Everybody, talk to me. And you can raise your hand if you'd like to. Go ahead, Mohammed. How would you describe the area of a shape, my guy? Go ahead.
So the area, it's a coverage. I mean, it's whatever around. Like anything from side to side, like that cover the whole area. I don't know how to explain it,
It's all good. It's all good. I want to see if someone else wants to kind of try to simplify that because I know what you're saying, but I want to see who can get us the, I guess, a straightforward, understandable answer for everybody here. So I got you. I know what you mean, Mohammed. But go ahead. Zoom user here. Go ahead. Let me see if I gave you the permission there. Try again.
Is it a P around the area?
Not quite. So I'm talking about the area of any shape. Like, how would you describe the area of any shape?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
All good. It's all good. Let's see what Tatiana has to say. Tatiana, go ahead. Welcome in.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
So the area of a shape is the total space inside of the shape.
Booyah. Nice and easy. So perfect. Appreciate that, Tatiana. So I would categorize the area of a shape, and you guys can go ahead and lower your hands now. I would categorize the area of a shape being, again, the total space inside of a shape. That's it. That's all area is. The space inside of a shape. Some people might know it as length times width because that's for a rectangle. Some people might know it as 1/2 times base times height. That's a triangle. Or side squared. That's a square. For circles, this is the formula for circles. The area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. And again, the area of any shape, is, again, let me just write this with regular font. It is the space inside of the shape. The space inside of the shape. The total space. Inside of a shape. All right. The total space inside of a shape. That's all it is. And there's just a formula to get there. So I really want you guys to understand that the areas for all of these different shapes, it's all the same idea. It's just a different method for each one, a different formula, a different combination of things, but it's all the same idea. How much space is inside of the shape? Yes or no, before I continue, does that make sense, everybody? That whenever you're calculating area for any shape, you're just finding the space inside of it. That's really what this is. Cool, because I'm telling you, this is going to come in handy later, so pay attention. So with that said, the formula here is going to be pi multiplied by the radius squared. Notice how that says radius. Everybody, pop quiz question, and you can raise your hand for this one. if you had a word problem that gave you the diameter of the circle, but they ask you for the area of the circle, what do you have to do first? What must you do first? If the problem starts off, Parmita, I was going to call on you. Oh, you got to think about it. Okay. If a problem starts off with the diameter and they have you find the area of the circle, how do you get that done? Like, how are you supposed to do that? Let's talk about this in open air. Go ahead, Mohammed, and go ahead, Jose, after. Go ahead, Mohammed.
So you divide on 2 because you need a radius.
Exactly. So remember, when it comes to the circle here, remember the diameter is literally double the radius. So if you have the diameter, you got to chop it in half. You got to divide it by 2 because that's how you'll just get the radius. Jose, is that what you're going to say, boss?
I was going to say, do you have to divide it by 2, or you can't do it like that? For example, say the denominator is 10. You can't do what is like half of it, 5 and 5.
No, you got to cut it in half. You got to cut it in half before you do all of the math. You know why? Let me show you right here. So everybody, let's just do a quick little example. I got you. So let's go ahead and say we got a problem where they say, yo, hey, diameter. Let's take the example here. Let's say that diameter. So example, diameter equals, let's go ahead and say 10. Let's say 10 for the sake of this here. So with that said, okay, Jose, if we were to do it the correct way first, okay, let's do it the correct way. If we do it the correct way, everybody, if the diameter is 10, hit me in the chat box. The radius is what? That's right. The radius is 5 because, again, the diameter is double the radius. So to go to the radius, you got to cut it in half, right? So with that said, my radius equals 5. And if I perform my formula, our area equals pi times 5 squared. Everybody hit me. What's 5 squared going to be? That'll be 25. And we're still multiplying by pi. And we'll talk about pi in a little bit. But we're going to have 25 pi. Now, let's suppose that we forgot and we just try to fit that diameter in there, right? Let's assume that we tried to fit the diameter in there without converting it to the radius, because we're sitting here like, what could go wrong? We've all been there, right? So let's see what could go wrong. I'm going to use red for this for obvious reasons because a lot's going to go wrong. So here we go. Area, or let's say that the diameter here equals 10, and we're going to use this accidentally. So area equals pi times 10 squared. Everybody hit me. 10 squared is, right? 10 squared means what's 10 times 10, right? So 10 times 10 gives us 100. So that's going to be 100 pi. Okay, just want everybody to pause for a second. So question, everybody. Let's suppose we were in Jose's shoes and Jose decided, hey, I'm going to use the diameter first, plug it into the formula, and then after, I'm going to cut it in half. After, because I know that the diameter is double the radius, so I'm going to cut it in half now. If I cut it in half now, I get 50 pi. What's the problem with that, everybody? What's the problem? Even after cutting in half, I know that some of y'all are typing it out right now. I see your faces. Exactly. It's not even close. Even if you cut it in half at the end, notice it's not even close. Even after, it's nowhere near 25. And so that's really what I want to urge you guys against in terms of cautioning. You do not want to use the wrong numbers in the formula. Even if you think you can correct it at the end, no, when it comes to area, it doesn't fly that way. It does not fly that way. Make sure you are plugging in the right numbers because it'll help you avoid mistakes like that. That right here, common mistake. So Jose, I'm really happy you asked, but that is a very, very common mistake when it comes to area and perimeter, or area and circumference for circles. So yes or no, everybody, did that make sense? My only goal there, my main idea here was when you use the formula, make dang sure that you plug the right numbers in. That's really it. Make sure you plug the right things in. So if the formula requires radius and you're given diameter, stop. Find the radius first and then continue, which is super easy, right? Diameter to radius, cut it in half. Cut it in half. So with that said, let's go ahead and now talk about circumference. So circumference here. Everybody, pop quiz. What is another word for circumference? Who knows? What is another word for circumference? Ooh, was that Adrian first? What's up, Adrian? Perimeter, followed by Chinasa, Honey, Muhammad, or fencing. Nah, not quite, not quite. That's a keyword for it. I like that. And Kevin and May. Yep, perimeter. Yes. Everybody, if you're confused on what the heck circumference is, circumference is, again, the same thing as perimeter. The only reason that we can't call circumference of a circle perimeter is because perimeter means add up all the sides. Everybody, do circles have sides? No, they don't. It's round. It's perfectly curved. And that's the only reason. It's just because of a technicality. We can't use the word perimeter for circles because of a technicality. That is it. Does that make sense, everybody? It's just because of a technicality. All right, cool. So again, circumference is the same as perimeter. So again, circumference equals perimeter. It is the distance around the object. That's what that means. Exactly. Circumference is like the border, like the perimeter. I finally see why they use that word. Exactly, Adrian. That's exactly why. Again, circles don't have sides. It's just a smooth curve all the way around. And that's why. I always ask myself why, and now we know. There we go. The more you know. PBS. So with that said, now let's go ahead and get into the formula for circumference here. There's two ways to write it. And the only reason is because circumference, when it comes to diameter and radius, interchangeable. So here are the formulas. Formula number one, right over here, and I'm going to rewrite these over here on the side. Let me write these in, I'm going to use green would be perfect here. So circumference is the same thing as pi multiplied by the diameter. That's one way to say it. Now, everybody fill in the blank. The diameter is equal to blank. Diameter is blank. Hey, Krishan, no worries, because we're just taking notes down. We're going to apply this in a bit. I got you. So the diameter is, Muhammad says, double the radius. Anna, you got that correct. Janasia, carry on, not quite. Anna got there, double the radius. Yeah, the diameter is double the radius. So remember right here, the diameter is double the radius. So everybody, is it fair if we went ahead and wrote another version of the circumference formula and we said, yo, the circumference can also be pi times double the radius? Is that fair? Is that legal? Is that truthful? It is. Yeah, it absolutely is truthful. And that's why when you see two different formulas for the circumference, they're not different. They're the exact same. They're the exact same. So does everybody here understand why there are two formulas now for circumference? Does that give us a little more ease there? Again, yeah, they're the same exact formula. They're really the same exact formula. And so I'm going to go ahead and just rearrange things because everybody, follow-up question. Isn't it true that 1 times 2 times 3 is the same as 2 times 1 times 3? Aren't they the same? If I just rearrange the way that I multiply them, right? Aren't they the same? Cool. So what I'm going to do here really quick is if you look right up here, all I'm going to do is instead of saying pi times 2 times r, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Well, not that. I'm going to do this right here. Boom. I'm just going to move the 2 in front to write 2 pi r. The reason I do that is because typically the formal way of writing multiplication is with a regular number in front, the variables and symbols at the end. So just wanted to go ahead and just do it that way because that's the formal way that you're going to see it. Doesn't change anything at all, but it's just a better way to see it and remember it because it's the same way all the way around. And so let's just recap because again, the notes are really the most important part because if you get the main idea, then when we start applying it and doing some stuff with it, we'll have a lot of fun. So let me just recap what we just did for those of us that are just joining us and for those of us that got slightly lost in the beginning here. I got you. So what do we start with? Well, we started off with the definition of what the heck a radius is. Remember, gang, take a picture if you need to. The radius is literally this. Center of the circle to the edge. It could be from there to here. It could be from here to there. Could be from here to there. Could be from here to there. Doesn't matter. It's all gonna be the same, okay? So the radius is literally just the distance from the center to the edge of the circle. That's it. From the center. Next, from there, we look at diameter. Everybody, pop quiz time. The prefix di, D-I, not D-I-E. The prefix di means what? It means 2. So the diameter compared to the radius means double the radius. The diameter is double the radius. Booyah. Pop quiz question again. If I were to have the diameter though, how do I go down to the radius? How do I go down to the radius? That's right. Divide by 2. If I started at the diameter, I want to go to the radius, divide by 2. Great job there. Great job. So here is the definition of the diameter here. Again, the diameter is going to be, and I can go ahead and turn this over for anybody who needs to see it that way. Right there. I can make it a little bigger too. But again, the diameter, it's the distance end to end of the circle. So that's right here. That is all right here. The distance end to end of the circle, but you just have to pass through the middle. Okay. You got to pass through the middle. If you don't, if you're going from like here to here, that's called a chord. And you actually don't need to know that for the ASVAB as far as I know. You don't. So all you need to know is the radius and the diameter. That's all you need. Next. Coming up next. Other formulas. The area. So remember the area right over here. The area, remember, is the total space inside of a shape. For no matter what shape, doesn't matter. It's just the total space inside of it. Now there's a specific formula for it here. It's going to be the area is equal to pi times the radius squared. All right. Now, pop quiz time, because I know a lot of us, when it comes to order of operations, we may struggle in this area. Everybody, do we always multiply by pi first, or do we always square the radius first? Which one is done? Pi times the radius, then squared, or square, then times the radius? Which one is it? Which one is it? And there's a debate. Notice there's only one correct answer, but there's a debate in the chat box. And so let me go ahead and remind everybody of PEMDAS. So when it comes to PEMDAS, just remind ourselves real quick, parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Notice exponents come first. So no matter what, everybody pay attention here. You're always doing the radius squared first, and then you're multiplying by pi. Always square first, and then you perform your multiplication. Right there, guys. Right there. Got you. So with that said, beyond that, exactly. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Exactly. Next, circumference of a circle. There are 2 formulas. Now, right over here, 2 formulas. Circumference. Remember what circumference is. It's just like perimeter. If you hear perimeter of a circle, well, just flick that person in the back of the ear, say, hey, it's circumference. Okay. But beyond that, remember, circumference is again the distance around the circle. And you find that with either of these formulas, 2 of these work. Notice how we have pi times diameter, but remember that diameter is the same thing as double the radius. So that's all we did here. These 2 formulas are the exact same. They are the exact same. So make sure to write down both formulas because depending on what you're given, either formula might be quicker. So that's why you want both of those. That's why you want both. And so with that said, we got one more thing here. We've got one last little pop quiz. Everybody on the ASVAB, yes or no, do you get a calculator? No, you do not get a calculator. Some people are saying expletive no. I understand your frustration. So with that said, since we don't get a calculator, if we do have to calculate pi, they may or may not give it to you. They should. I think they have to legally. But what is the common representation of pi as a number on the ASVAB? Not party people. There it is. Yep. 3.14. If when in doubt, use 3.14 for pi. So last piece of note here, and we are starting some practice. So again, always use pi equals 3.14 right there. Pop, 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 pop. Boom. There it is. There it is. And if you're wondering if I'm actually on this screen, yep, there is a giant screen behind me, and this is a TV. And for those of you who have been to my classes, shh. All right. So with that, there we have it. There we have it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not asking how comfortable you are with circles yet, because obviously we have to practice. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you can describe, one, pay attention to the whole thing. How confident are you that you can tell the difference between radius and diameter, and talk about the difference between area and circumference? That's all I care about. Can you describe the difference between radius and diameter? Can you describe the difference between circumference and area? Not the formula, but just the actual idea. So it would sound something like this. The radius is from the center of the circle, from the middle to the edge. Diameter is double that. That'll be perfectly fine with me. And then when you're talking about area and circumference, the area is the total space inside. The circumference is the distance around. If you can say that, we're in business. We are in business. The formulas, we'll practice those. Don't worry about that. The ideas start first. So if anybody wants to reevaluate, thank you, Brooklyn. Now you're a 10. Who here is feeling confident that they can, again, just talk about it? Not the actual formulas, just talking about it. Okay, cool. That's why I said, wait. A lot of y'all were going like, I'm a 1. No, just give it a second. Give it a second. All right, so let's go ahead and get to some practice here. We're going to have about 15, 20 minutes of the fundamentals practice, and then we're going to dive into some word problems, and we're going to have a really good time. So let's get it going here. Number 1. So finding the circumference of a circle is the same as finding the what of a rectangle. I'm going to give you all 20 seconds to answer this. Let me get my watch on 20 seconds before I can set my timer. Let me get my timer here and get that ready for later. Okay, cool. Still got 10 seconds here. Go and lay your answers in there. Lay those answers in here. Let's go. Finding the circumference of a circle is the same as finding the what of a rectangle, and that is time. Okay. The answer is, everybody, B, perimeter. It is perimeter. Boom, 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 boom. So again, remember, the circumference is the distance around the shape. So let me go ahead and just draw a circle. Notice how perfect that circle is. Bam, you know me. I like to draw things perfectly. And so with that said, remember the circumference right over here is the distance around. Is the distance around, okay? The distance around. So it's the magic pen's doing. Parmita, wow, Captain Obvious, wow. Wow. So with that, I love what I do, if you couldn't tell. So, and that means making people cry sometimes. But with that said, we're taking a look here. And I want to ask y'all really quick. How often, and please be honest with this question, how often before actually starting to practice or study a topic, how often do you actually take the time to do what we're doing and actually learn the ideas, the fundamentals, before you just dive on into practice? Or are you the type of person to just go straight into the textbook, go to the practice problems, and hope for the best? I'm looking at the chat box. Never, 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 not very often. 0, none, never, 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 never. An hour. I like that, Muhammad. So there's a point that I want to make here. And I'm not speaking out of my, I'm speaking from experience. Again, I have a master's degree in this. I've been doing this for about 10 years. Whenever you want to learn something new and feel confident in it, you got to learn the basic fundamental mechanics. By learning those fundamental mechanics and terminology, you're going to give yourself the opportunity to be able to talk about it. But if you cannot talk about something, how can you ever hope to do it and then remember what you did? If you're able to talk about something first, then when you start doing it, you know and recognize the parts and the pieces and the fundamentals that you're working on, making it so much easier to retain that information beyond the first, second, and third day of doing it. Everybody, do you see what I'm saying here? I really want y'all to just change the way that you're learning, because a lot of y'all are spending a lot of time learning, but at the same time, if you're not doing it the right way, days of studying can go right out the window. Has anybody ever been there? Where you feel like you studied a topic for 4 or 5 days, then 6, 7, 8 day, you're like, I'm moving on, but I forgot what I did. We've all been there. We've all been there. And so I really just want to, again, urge you guys to change the way that you learn. Like, I'm actually giving you guys my entire program's advice for free. And just because I care about you guys' success, change the way you learn. Start with the basics, learn the terminology, talk about it, then start doing problems. So with that said, boom, I just said it, Abraham, I got you. Let's talk about this one now. What is the circumference of a circle? Let me go right here. What is the circumference of a circle that has a radius of 8 units? Okay, what is the circumference? Everybody remember, when it comes to solving math problems, we go straight to the question, but obviously it's only one sentence. But you want to know what you're being asked. Everybody, is this question asking us to find the radius? Yes or no? So one yes and a lot of no's. No, we are not being asked to find the radius. Everybody, what are we being asked to find? We're being asked to find the circumference or the perimeter, right? Or the perimeter. So we can say that right here. What is the circumference of a circle? Right there. And so everybody, when I'm trying to answer this question, help me out. I know that there are 2 formulas for circumference. Which one should we use? Which one should we use? I see some people saying d times pi. I see some people saying 2 pi r. I see some people saying, again, 3.14 times d again. But why? Give me a reason. So if someone is picking the 2 times pi times r, raise your hand real quick. Let me know why you picked that one. Go ahead, Parmita. Why did you pick the c equals 2 pi r? Why did you do that?
It just makes way more sense to see like how I get like convert the radius to a diameter, because originally it's the diameter. Because like I don't know how to explain it, but it's like easier for me. Like if I do pi times the radius and then times, pi times radius times 2, it will actually get me to the diameter quicker, because I already know if I just do diameter, it's going to be a whole process. I got to divide it and all that stuff, and that's just too much work.
Hold that thought right there. Stay on the mic, Parmita. So with that said, Parmita, let me ask you this then. So could you list out both of those formulas for me real quick? We have circumference.
Yeah, circumference times diameter.
You mean radius or pi times diameter?
Yeah, pi times diameter. Why did I say radius?
It's all good. And then so pi times diameter. And what's the other one?
And then circumference equals pi times radius times 2.
Right. And we can also call that, 2 pi r, right?
Yeah.
So everybody, go ahead and help me out in the chat box. What does, or Parmita, you as well live here, the D stands for what here?
It stands for from the end to the end, or double of the radius.
Yeah, what's the word? Because we just see the letter D, but what does D stand for?
Diameter.
Diameter, right? D stands for diameter. R stands for what?
Radius.
What are we given?
The radius.
There we go. That's it right there. Simple answer. Simple answer right there. The reason you want to use this one is because you're given the radius. So just use that one. That's it.
I already calculated.
What's that?
I already calculated.
Oh, there we go. Congratulations. That's why you were tripping up over your words there.
Yeah, I was like,
So with that said, everybody, yes or no, do you see why, even though we have 2 formulas, you don't have to pause and freak out? You literally take what the question gives you and you use the appropriate formula based off of what you're given. Yes or no? Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Cool. Perfect, guys. Perfect. So again, that's one of the main fundamentals of geometry is that literally everything is formulaic. Everything, area, perimeter, volume, surface area, all of these things are formulaic. And so you want to make sure you're using the right setup, the most appropriate setup that you can. And so here we have two different versions of the same formula, but they're the same thing. Because again, the diameter literally is double the radius. It's literally the same thing. But since we're given the radius, we might as well go that route. And so bam, let's go. Circumference equals 2 times, everybody, what do I use in place of pi? Hit me, quick, chat box. 3.14, perfect. And I appreciate you guys answering questions in the chat box for me, because obviously 168 folks in here, it does make it slightly harder, but I do appreciate you guys being kind. And so, yep, 3.14. And then what am I using for the radius? That's right, that's gonna be 8. And we're set, and that's it. And so if you're telling me that all I have to do is plug it in the right way, and then the rest of the way with this problem is just arguably mindless multiplication, we're in a great spot. We're in a great spot. And let me just qualify the statement there. If this right here is not an easy multiplication for you, if that right there is not easy multiplication for you, again, I know I'm sounding like a butt face when I say it, but that's on you. You know, we have to be responsible and practice our operations. If you feel like decimals make you nervous, practice that thing, man. If you're nervous with fractions, practice that. I promise you it'll be worth it. But you have to suffer in the beginning. But I promise you, after a few days, you'll be like, yo, what was I afraid of this whole time? Anybody been there yet in my program? Where you look at decimals, fractions, percents, and after a while, you're like, oh, wow, this is actually really manageable. Negative numbers, really manageable now. That's the idea. We have to put in the time. So the person asking why we put 8 in, that's the radius. We use the formula 2 times pi times the radius, 2 times 3.14 times 8. The radius is 8. Booyah. And so with that said, here we go. Let's solve this thing here and let's have a good time. So everybody, what is 3.14 times 2? 3.14 times 2, that's just going to be 6.28. 6.28. And then we're going to multiply that by 8. So if you need to write this down on the side, sure, go ahead. No shame in that. No shame in that. So 6.28 multiplied by 8. And we'll take our time doing this to get it done the right way. So here, help me out, everybody. 8 times 8, hit me in the chat box. 8 times 8 going to be 64. That's correct. Carry that 6. 2 times 8, hit me, everybody. 2 times 8 is going to give you that 16. Carry the 6. It's going to give me that 22. Bam. And now 6 times 8, everybody, what's that going to give me? 48. That's right. Carry the 2 gives me a what? 50. That's right. So we're going to write 50 there and we're done. But one thing I forgot, everybody, what's the rule when it comes to multiplying with decimals? What's the rule? Anybody want to raise their hand? What is the rule? So Kevin, I saw that your hand was already raised, but Kevin, let me know. Are you ready to answer this question here? What do we do with this?
No, not this question, but yeah, it was like something else, but I could let somebody else speak.
I got you. I'll come back to you. I got you. Keep your hand raised. Israel, what's up, man? Israel, tell me, what do I do with the decimals when I multiply with them?
So you just gotta put the decimals places back.
Yes.
In this case, we move it 2 times.
My man, thank you. That's right on. 1, 2, 1, 2. Boom. 50.28. And there it is. There's our answer. We are done. 50.24 units. That is the circumference of the circle with a radius of 50.24. Bam. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I meant 4. I think I misspoke for a second there, but yep, I meant 4. Appreciate you, Israel. So with that said, Kevin, what was your question from earlier, man? I got your back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So for the formula that we got, which is C equals 2 times pi times radius. So I did it like differently. I mean, I feel like I feel like I'm right about it. So we could start off with the radius, correct? Like, you know, like let's say we take 3.14 times 8, right? And then times, after we get that total, then we take the total and then times it by 2. It'll still work no matter what, right?
Yeah, because you would have gotten 25.12. And then from there, you double that and you get 50.24.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you. That was my question.
Yep. So we gotta remember, everybody, 1 times 2 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 2 times 1. Same thing as 2 times 1 times 3. If you're multiplying all the way through, the order does not matter. Same thing with adding. If everything is just being added, add in whatever order you want. Doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter at all. And so Latifa, I'm glad that you said that. Like Latifa says, knowing the formula makes it easier to plug in the numbers and solve the problem. That's all I wanted you guys to see. Understanding the fundamentals allows these word problems to kind of slow down a little bit. It'll slow down in front of your eyes and you'll be able to do more. So with that said, let's go to this next one here. Let's try this next one out. So first of all, everybody, what is the first thing we always need to do? Any problem? Always. Read the question. That's correct. That is correct. And so what we need to always do here is read the question first. The question says, hey, what is the area? What is its area? So everybody, here's what reading the question first does for you. It tells you exactly what you need to find. Now, the thing is, if we were to only see what's the area with no other information, everybody, what's your follow-up question? If I didn't have any of this, like if I didn't have any of this, any of that, nothing. If you were just in a dark room and then the lights turned on and the question was, what's the area? What's your follow-up question then? What are you asking? I'm training you how to deal with geometry problems. That if you read what's the area, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? My man, Kevin, right there. What's the shape? What's the shape? Tevin, great job. Of what? Area of what? You see how beautiful that can be? Like you're literally leading yourself to the correct answer. Because if you're being asked, what's the area? Sorry, my hand got cut off for a second. But if you're asking yourself, what is the area? And bring it a little closer to me. What's the area? Well, I know that if it's a square, side times side, rectangle, length times width. If we're talking circles, pi r squared, triangles, half base times height, parallelograms, base times height. What are we dealing with? That's the first question that should be coming to your mind. And so with that said, boom, that's where our attention snaps to. Okay, what shape are we dealing with? Oh, look at that right there. A circle. And so with that said, everybody, what formula should you be writing down? Go. What formula should you be writing down? Everybody, I'm waiting for everybody to write it down. Everybody. And everybody, just making sure that you know this, pi is not spelled P-I-E, that is cake. Pi, as in the Greek letter pi, is P-I, just P-I. Yeah, just letting you guys know. I'm hungry, okay? Hungry for these gains on the ASVAB. Let's go, come on. So, yep, area, I want everybody write it down the right way because I saw so many wrong ways, incomplete ways. Let's not get lazy here. And a lot of y'all were incomplete because it was just plain lazy. And I can say that because I'm your coach. So here, area equals pi times radius squared. You can also write it fully in the chat box like this. Area of a circle equals pi times radius squared. You can write it out like that if you'd like to, times rad squared, radius squared, r squared. But I want everybody to go ahead and write it out just like that. There you go. Welcome to Math Church with Coach Anderson, where instead of saying amen, we will repeat the formulas. So with that said, yep, area equals pi times radius squared. I got you guys, let's go. So include the area before it, area equals, because if you're not including the area equals in the chat box, you might be confusing it with circumference. So be careful there. That's why I'm being annoying. I'm being annoying for a reason. Trust me, this works if you just follow along. but we can't risk you getting confused when it comes to circumference versus area. We just cannot risk it. Cannot risk it. Cool. So with that said, everybody, question, are we given the radius? Yes, we are given the radius. What is it, everybody? Give it to me. Hit me. Right. It is going to be 5. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Radius of 5. And then from there, everybody, what is the estimation of pi that we should always be using? Don't want to show you? Yeah, 3.14. That's right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to replace this formula here. We're going to say, hey, look, area equals, let me zoom on in a little bit. We're going to say 3.14. That's what replaced the pi. Multiplied by 5 squared. 5 squared. So just to double check, everybody, we're supposed to do 3.14 times 5 first, right? We're supposed to do the 3.14 times 5, right? 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 I love it when you guys get it. There we go. No, we're not supposed to. We're supposed to follow PEMDAS, and we're supposed to square the 5 first, exponents first, and then we multiply. And then we multiply. Anybody here caught themselves almost doing 3.14 times 5? That's what's up, Kevin. There we go. That's growth. That's growth. Almost did, Jalen. There we go. Again, that's where the growth happens. Same thing with you, Evan. So with that, right on, Devin and Michael. So here we go. Let's do the 5 squared. Hit me, everybody. 5 squared is. That's correct. That's going to be 25. So I'm going to let this person into the chat. Boom. So here, A equals 3.14 multiplied by 25. And now from here, all we have to do is perform 3.14 times 25, and we're done. So look at this. Does everybody here understand that once you actually understand what to plug in, what formula to use, it's really just calculating from there. That's really all it is. It is simply calculation from there. Will it be funny calculations with decimals, fractions, whatever the heck? Yeah, but that's not the point. You should be trained to handle this by now. And that's what I expect of you if you're with me. So with that said, here we go. Let's get it done. 3.14 multiplied by 25. Everybody, what do we got to remind ourselves to do with the decimal at the end? Hit me in the chat box. What must we remind ourselves to do at the end? How many times? How many times? Twice, exactly. Move it back twice to the left. Here we go. Everybody follow along. 4 times 5, that's going to give me 20. Carry the 2. 1 times 5 is going to give me 5. Carry the 2, that's a 7. Next, we're going to go ahead and have 3 times 5, which is 15. All right, next line, I'll go ahead and use green for this. 4 times 2 will give me, oh, gotta remember the 0 here. 4 times 2 gives me an 8. Then we have 1 times 2, which is going to give me a 2. And then 3 times 2, that's going to give me a 6. I'm going to add everything together. Here we go. And if you wanted to, you can put the decimal place right there, right now, if you wanted to bring it back 2 times. Doesn't really matter, but you can do it at the end too. But here we go. 0, 5, carry the 1. 5 plus 2 is 7. Carry that 1 is 8. Then 1 plus 6 is 7. And so our answer here, we have 1, 2, 1, 2. We have 78.50 in terms of the area. So yes or no, everybody, was that harmless or was that really grueling, really annoying? How do you guys feel about that? Was that painless, harmless? Cool. Because the next step really is going to be, because we're going to do a couple more practices, but the next step really is going to be identifying these things in word problems now. Because they're not always going to say, oh, what's the circumference of this lake? No, they're going to go ahead and just kind of be shady with the wording. And you have to be able to recognize those key words. But I'm telling you, that's really what the ASVAB is about. Knowing how to translate those keywords into math, knowing what the math actually is, like the formula and the equations and things like that. And then it's your ability to calculate quickly. So keywords, formulas, and calculating quickly. That's what the ASVAB is all about in terms of arithmetic reasoning. So with that said, it's all good, Genesis, because now you see the problem and now you can correct it. And so the answer here is 78.50. And so I'll take a oh, looks like you don't have a question anymore. No worries. So with that said, I believe we have just 2 more warm-ups, and then we're doing word problems. So question, everybody. You got 10 seconds. A circle has a diameter of 16 units. What is the radius? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Answers. Let's go. Go, 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 go. Did anybody here freak out when I was counting you down from 10 seconds? The answer is B. That's correct. Did anybody freak out? A little bit. But when you take a step back and you actually look at the question, how easy is that question? How easy is that? Right? This is a super easy question, but you saw that. Just the idea of being timed. Whoa, what's going on? What's going on, right? Anybody? Has it ever happened to you on the actual ASVAB? Has it happened to you on the actual ASVAB? Where you know how to do this, but just the very idea of being timed stopped you from doing your best. That's called test anxiety. And also, it means that you are not 1000% confident with the material. Because I can guarantee you, if you saw 1 + 1 on the ASVAB, I could be yelling in your face with a bullhorn. 1 + 1, 2. But if you're not totally confident in what you're doing, then that's where that room for the anxiety to creep in comes into play. So that's where practice is necessary. Next question here. Oh, well, just to qualify this, because I know I didn't explain it here. Remember that the diameter is double the radius. Remember that, everybody. Remember that. The diameter is double the radius. So with that said, everybody, the diameter, if they give you the diameter at 16, 16 is double what? And you ask yourself, well, cut in half. That's going to be double 8. That's going to be double 8 right there. So that's one way to think about it. You don't always have to set up an equation or anything. You can just straight up look at it with English. Okay? If 16 is supposed to be double the radius, well, 16 is double what number? 2 times what number? 8 divided by 2. Booyah. Next up here, a circle has a diameter of 12 units. What is the area of the circle? I'm going to give you guys exactly 1 minute, not to solve this, but to come up with a plan to solve this. Please do not type your responses into the chat box. Don't share your answers. I want us to really feel what's going on. And I don't mean feel as in struggle. I just want you to just try this out here. So go ahead. I'm going to give you again just a minute here to try to go ahead. The timer's already started. Let me just go ahead and pull it up real quick. I got you. Just not feeling like behaving, and I got you. Don't share your answers. Don't share your answers. There you go. Still got a minute there. You're good. Don't share your answers. I just want you to come up with a plan. Again, I don't want an answer. I want a plan. What's your plan? So you want the area. Make a plan. Brian, we can expect this on the ASVAB. If it's not a word problem, math knowledge. If it's in a word problem like, oh, a circular lake or pizza or circular objects, you can expect that in arithmetic reasoning. So if you're already done with your plan, go ahead, start solving. Do your thing, try to solve it. I'm not going to stop you. But all I care about is having a plan before we start here. That's all I care about. All I care about. And I'm going to lose my voice. 10 seconds. All right, don't reveal your answer, reveal your plan. Type your plan out in the chat box. Type your plan out in the chat box. That's all I care about. What is your plan? What is your plan? Go. Time's up. What is your plan? Let me start reading some of these. So the area is going to be 3.14 times 12 squared. Sorry, but that's going to be incorrect. There's a reason why, though. 12 divided by 2, which is 6. Then A equals pi times 6 squared. Cameron Quaid. Booyah. C equals pi times diameter. So Anna, check that out there. C equals. What does C stand for again? Circumference. What are we asked to find? area. So already that plan, nicked, can't use it. Same thing with eugenesia. And then going down the list, we're going to go through a couple more here. We need an area and it's a circle. So we need to use radius. So you divide the 12 by 2. Muhammad, solid plan. Muhammad, flawless there. Then from there, I saw the 36 in there. That's perfect there. Who was that? OTG, KNRM. Don't know what your first name is. Go ahead and give me your first name there. But yeah, so with that said, let me walk you through how I would walk through literally any math problem ever. This is the strategy you want to use. Everybody, first step in any math word problem is what again? First step in any math word problem is what again? Read the question. Step number 1, what do we want, right? What do we want? So let's go ahead and learn ourselves some math, not grammar, but what do we want? We want, again, area of the circle. So the moment that we read that we want the area of the circle, we need to check our brain bank and produce the formula for the area of a circle. Kindly, please go ahead and type into the chat box, what's the formula for the area of a circle? What is the formula for the area of a circle? Gerbil, I'm waiting on you, man. I see you, boss. Booyah, right there. Yeah. So what we have here, right, instantly, area of a circle, we need to produce the formula. Area equals pi times radius squared. You got to produce that instantly. Again, not right now because we're learning, but I'm talking about on test day. Okay, area of circle, pi times radius squared. So everybody, now that we've produced that, what is the one thing that we need to calculate the area of a circle? What is the one thing that we need in this problem? Thank you. Love you guys. Perfect, 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 perfect. We need the radius. So this is what I call letting the problem lead you on the way. Like, let the problem lead you. Let the information take you. Because again, the question reads, what's the area of a circle? Great. That's my formula. Pi times radius squared. Cool. What is it that I need then? The radius. What did they give me? The diameter. Everybody, this is the same thing as receiving coal on Christmas morning. This is not what I wanted. This is not what I wanted. But how many of y'all tried to use the 12 anyway? Be honest. Go in the chat box. How many of y'all tried to use the 12 anyway? This is what happens when you try to hope for the best. When it comes to math, you don't need hope. You need skill. You need confidence. You need practice. You need reps. And so you look at the diameter, you need the radius. Don't try to force it in there. Instead, ask yourself this. I'm given the diameter, but I need the radius. Everybody, how do I go from the diameter to the radius? How do I go from the diameter to the radius? Divide by 2. Divide by 2. And we're feeling good. So with that said, all we have to do is calculate from here on moving forward. So let's go ahead and just try it out, man. So we have the diameter here. We have diameter. It's equal to 12. And to get the radius, what we're going to do here is let's go and grab this. Radius is going to be equal to the 12. And we're going to go ahead and divide by 2 here. And so with that said, everybody, what's 12 divided by 2? Yeah, it's going to be 6. All right, cool. All right, so that's going to be 6, and I'm done with that. Cool. So there we go. If you laugh at my expense, but you're learning and having a good time, that's fine by me. So with that, there we go. The radius equals 6. Can we go ahead and plug that in and solve now? Can we do that? Can we do that? Yeah, we absolutely can. We're good. Let's have a good time now. So I'm plugging that back in, and we're solid. Area equals pi, which is 3.14, multiplied by 6 squared. Now that we're here, are we going to do the 3.14 times the 6 or square the 6 first? Which one is it? Square the 6 first. Square the 6 first. There we go. There we go. There we go. Hit me. 6 squared. 36, correct. Cool. So we have area equals 3.14 times 36. And that's all we have to do. That's all we have to do. And we're done. And we're done. So here, 3.14 times 36. If you can get to this point in the problem, like just calculations, this is where you feel you're most proud, because the calculating is what you should be the most confident with. One more time. If you can make it to the point where you know you're calculating the right numbers, this is where you should be at your proudest, your most confident, because this is where you should be at your strongest, no matter what. Okay, everybody? Practice. So here we go. 4 times 6 is 24, carry the 2. 1 times 6 gives us 6, carry the 2, that's an 8. 3 times 6 gives us 18. Jakia, I'm going to answer your question. Keep it up there, okay? Keep your hand up. And so next, then we're going to do 3 times 4, or yeah, 4 times 3. We have to put the 0 first, duh. But then 4 times 3, that's going to give us 12. 1 times 3 gives us 3. Carry the 1 is 4. 3 times 3 gives us 9. Then from there, we add it all back together. And now we have it. 4, 10, carry the 1. 8 plus 4 is 12. Carry the 1 is 13. Bring the 1 over. 1 plus 9 is 10. Carry the 1 is 11. And so then we realize that, hey, we had 1, 2 right there. So we'll have 1, 2 over here. The answer will be 113.04 for the area. Booyah. And there we have it. And there we have it. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. If you know what the movie that's from, bonus points. But there it is. There it is. So I'm going to leave that right there. Take a picture if you need to. Take a picture if you need to. But on a scale of 1 to 10, everybody, how much sense did that make? Start with what you want. Then look at the information to see what you need to get there. And then, boom, calculate. That's really what it's all about, guys. That's really what it's all about. And so I'm going to take some questions here before we start moving into the word problems. Jakia, go ahead first. How you doing?
Hey, I went the long way. I did area pi times radius 2. Area equals 3.14 times 2. Area equals 3 times 144.
So
that was my mistake.
That's not the long way. That's the wrong way. All right. So, and I'm not saying that to be funny or anything.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things I was touching on earlier, right? Make sure you're plugging in the right pieces to the right formula. Justice, Bruce Almighty, correct. But yeah, it's really about making sure you're plugging in the right pieces into the right formula all day. Yeah. So hopefully that helps. I got you. Yeah. What's going on, Miracle? Welcome in. What is your question?
Hey, so I get confused about the square. Say 6 to the second power. Do you multiply 6 2 times or?
Yeah. So if you got x squared, that's the same thing as saying x times x. If you got 5 squared, it's the same thing as saying 5 times 5. If you got 7 cubed, it's the same thing as saying 7 times 7 times 7. So the number up here, it just tells you how many times you're multiplying that number.
Okay, thank you.
Got you. No problem. So I would say Jose. And so let me know, guys, if I'm answering a question if I answered a question that you had, but it was just somebody else's question, please go ahead and lower your hand just so I can make sure we can be efficient at this. And then Jakia and Miracle, please lower your hands. Go ahead, Jose.
I have a question. Do I really have to divide? I can't just do it like that, like how you.
No, Jose.
the 12, like I already knew it's half of 12. It's 6. You mean, do you have to do the dividing part? Say, example, it was 10 instead of 12. It was 10, and I know it's half of 10. 5. Yeah, that part. Yeah.
Oh, if you mean actually writing it out, no. If you know that.
No, not writing it out, but like saying the problem. Like I already knew it was half of 6, but then I was like, do I have to do that part? But like I don't. You know what I'm saying?
Question. Just ask yourself this. It's not about what the numbers are. It's about what they represent, right? We've gone through this plenty of times. It's not about what the numbers are. It's about what they represent. The formula calls for the radius. You are given the diameter. No, you cannot use the 12 because the 12 is not.
No, I'm not talking about the 12. I'm talking about, I already knew what was, I already know what the half of 12 is. It's 6 automatically, or like, for example, instead of
Yeah, so
12,
this
it was
right here. We're actually divided the 12 by 2.
10.
Yeah, that was me just showing to everybody. Okay, I got what you're saying now. Yeah, that was just me showing what 12 divided by 2 was, how we got to the 6. So if you already know mentally, perfect. Remember, the less steps you can take on paper, the better. The more you can do mentally, the better.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah. So if you already know that 12 divided by 2 is 6, yeah, you're good, man. No need to write that. You're good. You're good. So thanks for cleaning that up, because I almost got mad at you. I was like, dude, Jose, how many times do we have to go through this? I was laughing, man. But go ahead, Janasia, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. My question is, so every time we see a question like this, or if it is a question like this with the diameter, we always have to multiply by 2. So we have to start with this first in order to get the correct answer, right?
Yeah, so I wouldn't answer your question with a yes, because that's training you to memorize, and I want you to understand more than memorize. So what I would say, Janasia, is this. You always use what's necessary for the problem. In this case, we needed the radius, but we had the diameter. So in this case, we had to divide the diameter by 2 to get the radius so we could use it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Always go with what is necessary, not with what you see. If what you see is what's necessary, perfect. Short steps. But you need to make sure that you have what's necessary, for sure. And so with that said, the full program is not for you guys. I see you guys talking in the chat box about it. The full program I will talk about at the end of class. So please go on to the end. You also see this link right over here. If you want the full classes, you can go there. Okay. Just want to make sure that we're not taking time away from the learning part of this class. But if you want the full classes, asvab.info/classes, feel free to go there. You can see the full program. I'll talk about it at the end of class. So Jakia, I will take you, and then Evan and Sambo, and then we are moving on to word problems. Go ahead. Let's go. Questions. Yep, we're going through drills next, Alondra. Jakia, looks like we're having a little bit of trouble there on the mic. Try again. And giving it to Evan. Go ahead, Evan.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, will you ever get a question where you cannot divide by 2? Say if, the diameter is a number that isn't 2, and it's in, I would say, I don't know how to describe it, but it was not 2. Would you ever, I'm not sure.
I know exactly what you're saying. I think the question you're asking is, will you ever be presented a problem where the answer is an exact solution, but not an actual number? And the answer,
yes.
Yeah, those are called exact solutions, where you might have like a square root in there. You might have a rational number. Yeah, so that's possible. Rare, it'll only appear in math knowledge. It won't appear in arithmetic reasoning. It will only be in math knowledge. Possible. There are questions out there that already have those in exact form. And I'll produce more of those questions. I think that's only fair, but the answer is it's possible.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but not likely. So like using the letter, the phrase pi instead of 3.14. Yeah, definitely possible.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No worries. And Sambo, you were the last one there because we do have to move forward here to those word problems. So go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hey, doing all right. How can I help?
Good. Yeah, so far I think I could get it. The diameter was 12, the radius was 12 divided by 2. But where I'm getting the mistake is when we have the area was equal to 3.14 times 6/2. So I didn't know how we get there. That's what I'm having a problem for.
So remember, the formula always calls for, it's not over 2. This is squaring. Remember, when the 2 is on top, you are squaring. So you're saying radius times radius, or 6 times 6.
Yeah, I got the formula, coach, but I thought, it's a pi times radius.
Right. And so are you asking why we don't do the pi times radius first?
Oh.
Yeah, because you do for order of operations tells you to do the exponent first.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you multiply.
Yeah, I know that from there. Yeah, but I just get confused with the formula. Yeah.
Gotcha. No worries, man. Practice makes perfect there. Practice definitely makes perfect. And so with that said, my party people, again, I love it that you guys are talking about the program in the chat box, but remember, wait till the end. I want to keep your attention focused on this because there's much more to come, right? A lot more to come. So as a reminder, everybody, these are your formulas. Again, the area of a circle, pi times radius squared. The circumference, we have pi times diameter, or circumference equals 2 pi r. All of those being multiplied together. Those are two different formulas representing the same exact idea. Same ideas. And remember, go ahead and take your screen. Oh, if you're going to take your screenshot, please go ahead. And this right here, this is your diameter being double your radius. All right. All right. So there it is. If you can see all the lights in the reflection here, my eyes are burning. So with that, let's go ahead and pop it over to our questions. So the old TV show. No, I might learn some mathematics tonight. Go ahead and grab a Joey and the Bobby, and I'll meet you out back. All right. So coming up next, guys, we have word problems. Here's how we're going to handle these. I'm going to give us exactly 2 minutes per word problem. My goal for you is not to solve the problem. Listen to me. My goal is not for you to solve it. That'd be great. That'd be dandy. That'd be puppies and sunshine. But the goal is to make a plan, to be able to talk about what you're doing. Okay? I don't want anybody here to feel bad because they're not getting it in 2 minutes. Like, this is not the ASVAB. The timer does not matter right now. I just want you to try to plan it out, and then we'll calculate together. It is to set it up. Yes or no? Are we on the same page? Your goal is to set up a solution, to set up a plan. It is not to actually perform the calculations. You can check all that work and see if your answer's there, and you'll see it when I confirm it. But it's just to make a plan. And so with that said, let me go ahead and get the timer up here to make it 2 minutes. All right. And so when the timer does hit 10 seconds, or here's how I want you to do it. When you have finished your plan, say, hey, finish my plan. When you have an actual answer, type, I got an answer. But I want to see the progression and the timing that it takes. So we only have half an hour left here, which is right around the time that I planned for to have more problems like this. But I'm hoping that we can get through at least 5 problems. I'm hoping that at least 5. So let me go ahead and get this ready. There we go. Perfect. All right, so here we go, guys. Let's go ahead and try these out. Remember, just make a plan. If you see some funky keywords that you don't recognize, then focus on that. Ask yourself, what could that be? Could that be the radius, the diameter, area, circumference? What is that I don't recognize? What could that be? So this is where we're really going to grow. Let's get it done. Everybody, the first thing we always do is what? Quick. Any question, any word problem, we always do what? Read the question. That's right. Read the question. So the first thing we see here is, what is the distance around the pond? Everybody, let's break it down here. Distance is just distance, right? Distance is just distance. But everybody, what's the word? What's one word that we can use? A word that we can use when we're talking about the distance around anything? Right, we're talking perimeter. We're talking perimeter. And the thing is, though, everybody, what shape is the pond? What shape? Like, what do they mean by the pond? Because the moment that you hear distance around, you're thinking, yo, what shape? Instantly, distance around anything, that's perimeter. And so you need the shape. Everybody, the shape that we're given is a circle. Circular pond. And so with that said, booyah. Distance, perimeter, we have a circle. And so everybody, because it's a circle, technically we can't use the word perimeter. What word should we be using? Circumference. Circumference. Another way to do this, everybody, is this. When in doubt, draw it out. Whoops. When in doubt, draw it out, but not like, not even going to say it. So with that said, if you're talking about two people, you know, the opposite sides of a pond are 120 feet apart, I mean, you really have to ask yourself, what information are you given? And Justice, the reason that it's not called perimeter is because a circle doesn't have sides. It's completely round all the way around. It's curvy. And so we have to name it something different. Circumference, still the same thing though. But this is where we have to really understand what's going on. We're asked to find the distance around the circle, which is circumference. Now, we also have to really but we also have to really understand what information we're given. So let me highlight this in blue. Opposite sides of the pond, 120 feet apart. So if I'm drawing that out, what do I see here? If this is the pond, right? This is the pond. Sounds good. You know, maybe you have like a walkway around here, whatever. But what we see is that we have 120 feet apart from end to end there. 120 feet. Everybody, what is that? If I draw it out for you, what is that 120 feet? Diameter. Yeah, you're going from end to end. That is the entire distance across the circle. That is diameter. So I can tell you right now that we are given diameter equals 120 feet. Everybody, did this problem just become a lot easier? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This problem just became a heck of a lot easier. And so because of that, everybody, there are two formulas for circumference. Which one should we be using here? Which one should we be using? Type it out for me. Which one should we be using? Circumference means distance around. Which one? Be clear here. C. Use the C. C equals what? C equals pi times diameter. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. There we go. So again, there are two formulas. There's C equals 2 pi r and C equals pi times the diameter. We are going to be using this one because we're given the diameter. Give me 1 second, guys. My pen is feeling like messing up right now. There we go. Cool. So C equals pi times d because again, we're given the diameter. We're given the diameter. And so again, the reason again, this is with the radius. We are given the diameter. So we would rather use the one that uses the diameter. Because there's no reason to go find the radius, then double it again to find the diameter, right? No point in that. No point. And so with that, we always use this one. C equals, everybody, pi. What do we replace it with? 3.14, correct. Times the diameter, which is 120. And so with that said, that's all we got to do now. 3.14 times 120. We'll do the math. And once we do the math, everybody, once we do 3.14 times 120, what should we get from that answer? We should get B. We should get B. 376.8. So I'm going to spare you all the math there because again, that's not what we're here for. We're not here to calculate. We're here to learn the why. So with that said, boom, 376.8 is the answer. That is the circumference. That is the distance around the shape. Boom. So take your screenshots here. Take your screenshots. So when we do drill sets, if you are in the program and you have questions after the class, again, make sure to be very specific with your question. Bring it to me. I'll answer first thing in the morning. I got you. But go ahead, take your screenshots here because we are going to move forward because I am promising you guys at least 3-4 questions. I'm hoping for 5-6, but I'm going to give you guys more questions here, okay? So take your screenshots. We're going to do this next one here. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to make a plan, and then I'm going over it with you. 3, 2, 1. Let's try. There we go. Go. So raise your hand if you would like to explain your plan. If you feel very confident with the plan and want to explain it, let's go ahead and try this out. Parmita, you were the first one. Let's see how well you can do. Go ahead.
I do first say, okay, I need to read the question. What do I need? And it says, what's the area? And I was like, okay, area of what? And it talks about the circular pizza. So I have to find the area of the circle, which is area equals pi times radius square. So then I have to find my radius, but it only gives me the diameter, which is 18, because it's across from the end to the end of the pizza. So I just divide that by 2, gives me a 9. And then what's 9 times 9? 81. Plug it in for the formula, and that's how I got my answer. I'm not going to say it though, but.
Thank you, Parmita. So everybody, we're going to go ahead and go through that again with her. And so let me just write that properly there. I was trying to write and catch up with you at the same time, but I think I got the gist of what you were saying there. And so booyah. And then from there, we're going to have the area, all that. All right. So with that said, everybody, let's go ahead and kind of review this, because there's really only one correct way to do this problem. If you tried to plug in 18 for the radius, you would have gotten the problem wrong automatically. You would have gotten the question wrong automatically. The only way that you would have been able to get this correct after the fact is by dividing by 4. That's the only way that you would have gotten away with this if you got the incorrect answer. So with that said, let's just understand everything that Parmita just went through, okay? Let's go through everything that she just said. So Parmita was excellent in terms of her keen eye saying, hey, we want area. The moment that you read area, you got to ask, yo, what shape? So again, area is a formula, but you need the shape. Circular pizza. Area of a circle, she automatically snapped her attention to area equals pi times radius squared. So far, before I continue, everybody, yes or no? Yes or no? Does it make sense that we need to use area equals pi r squared because it says area of a circular pizza? Is that 100% nice and easy, all set?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, so Tamira, I just started. So we're at the beginning of it. We're at the beginning. So right here, what I'm saying is area of a circular pizza means that you need the area of a circle. And so that's where this starts off. This is what you want. This is what you want. The area of a circular pizza. Now, this is where things might get confusing. Things might get confusing right at this part, right here, the 18 inches across. So let's just go ahead and humanize this for a moment by just showing you a picture of what this really is. So let me go ahead and show you a circular pizza. So let's say we got this circular pizza here, right? You know, you got your pepperoni, you got your crust and everything. You got your crust, you got your pepperonis, you got everything that you need, right? You got everything you need. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, cool. So then let's go ahead and say, oh, it's at 18 inches across. So if you picture that, everybody, 18 inches across, I could do it like this if I wanted to. 18 inches across. What does that mean, everybody? The 18 inches, what does that represent? If you look at it now, if you visualize it, the 18 represents the what?
Diameter?
Yeah, that's going to be the diameter. That's going to be the diameter. So that's the biggest piece that you need to make sure you visualize. That if you're going across a circle, across the entirety of the circle, that is the diameter. But my question, everybody, is for the formula for the area, do you plug in the diameter?
No.
Nope, we do not. We do not. No, 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 no. We need to plug in the radius. And so that's where the question comes into play. How do we go from the diameter to the radius? Is the formula? Yeah, so Krishan is the formula right there. It is the formula. The area is going to be pi times the radius squared, not the diameter, the radius. And so since we need the radius, notice we have 18 as the diameter right here. but we can't use that. We have to use the radius. So to get the radius from the diameter, remember, the radius is half of the diameter. So if 18 is the diameter all the way across, if I only wanted half of that, then I would cut it in half. Boom. And so 18 divided by 2, that's what gives us the 9. That's where we get 9 for the radius. So everybody, yes or no? Do we see how and why we need that 9? How we got the 9 and why it's necessary? That's the big key there. That's the big point that we need to understand. If we can't understand that, then that's when we need to take a step back and get the basics here, fundamentals. All right. So we need that 9, not the 18. We need the 9 because it's the radius, it's half the diameter. Then when you plug it back in, that's when we're feeling pretty good about this. That's when we're feeling pretty good because now we have pi times 9 squared. PEMDAS, order of operations, tells you to do the 9 squared first, giving you the 81. And now we have 81 times pi. And from there, now we will perform 3.14 times the 81. So again, so 7. So everybody give me the calculation there. What's 3.14 times 81? I'll go ahead and give you guys a short answer there. But 7, the reason that we need the 9 is because, again, the formula calls for the radius, but the problem gives you the diameter. So you need to use the diameter to get the radius first, which means divide the diameter by 2. So 7, you remember how the diameter is double the radius? The diameter is double the radius. And so you need to work backwards. It's like, okay, what do you double to get 18? Oh, 9. And so that's the number we need to use. And so when we calculate everything, we should get 254.34. Is that what we get? Yep. 254.34. That is going to be the answer there. And that seems so small. So let me go ahead and move that over here. And so the answer is going to be 234.34. And that's going to be square inches. Or you can say inches squared. Either way is fine. Either way is fine. But that is going to give us answer choice C once we calculate. So what I want y'all to, again, focus on is the plan. Notice how I didn't care about the calculations. We can work on that. We'll get that. But I care more about the plan. Let's try this next one out here. This one's going to be fun. Oh, I'm not going to do that one actually because I'm not going to do a new topic in the middle of it. So this is the last one that we'll do here. This is definitely what I want to do. So we'll consider this one a challenge question-ish. Kind of a challenge question here. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes again. All you need to focus on is making a plan. That's all you got to focus on. And so after this one, we will be starting to wrap class up. So if you are interested in the program, if you believe that more of this could work for you, plus a heck of a lot more that you get with it, stay tuned. I'll go ahead and walk you through it. It's super easy to talk about, even easier to sign up. So stay until the end. But first of all, let's focus on practice problem right here. So with that said, let's go and get through it here. Remember guys, look, first things first, read the question. So this is how you can break any word problem down, guys. Like a lot of it is recognizing keywords. Sometimes it really is plain old, and I don't want to say common sense because I don't want to like sound patronizing, but a lot of it is intuition, like looking at it and being like, okay, if I want this, then what's this? Like, that's what I mean, being inquisitive. So watch this. How far will the wheel go after 6 rotations? Okay, everybody, question. If we're talking about a wheel, what shape are we discussing? Okay, so it looks like we're talking about a circle. And then everybody, how far? What does that mean? What does how far mean? Yeah, how far refers to distance. So how far refers to distance. So I'm gonna put that right there. Circle, distance, and then 6 rotations. Okay, so here's what I want everybody to do here. Everybody, pencils down. Now, everybody, I don't care how confident you were, everybody, pencils down. So this is how you can break word problems down. The question reads, how far? Wheel, 6 rotations. So what does that mean? Well, the how far means distance. The wheel means circle. How far does the circle go rotating 6 times? Everybody, what did I just do with my finger there? Again, this is what I mean. Think about it intuitively. Rotate 6 times. What am I doing with my finger? What math am I imagining with my finger? I can go the other way too. I can go clockwise or counterclockwise. If I go one complete rotation around a circle, I have completed one what? Circumference. I have completed one circumference there. One complete circumference, 2 circumferences, 3, 4, 5, 6. So everybody, is it fair to say that if I found what one circumference was, I could multiply it by 6 to get 6 rotations, to get the distance for 6 rotations? Now, did this just become a lot easier for anybody? And that's what I mean. Like, again, I know sometimes I make it look easy, and I get it. You know, I make these problems and prepare for them. But I'm really just showing you, again, not to memorize, but to pick apart these keywords like surgically. That's what this is about. Like, that's how I teach, helping you make sure that you not only get this one right, but understand why and how to repeat that success. So watch this. If I even draw a circle out, like, I hope that this makes sense as well. So if I draw this circle and I go ahead and grab this, well, you can't really see it. If I were to just grab it and rotate it, you won't be able to see it much. But if I just grabbed it and then rotated all the way through one time, that's the circumference. That is legit the circumference. And so what you would see here is, okay, find one rotation, which is again the circumference, and then times 6 for 6 rotations. So does our plan make sense, everybody? Find the circumference, then multiply it by 6 to get the answer. Boom. And just a few moments ago, a lot of us were looking at this like, what the heck, right? But again, this is what I mean when I say try your best. Start with the keywords, pick it apart, and let's go now. So circumference is going to equal, well, we have 2 circumference formulas, everybody. Which circumference formula should we use? Because it says a wheel that is 9.2 inches across. Okay. What are we doing here? Which one should we be using? Yep, it's going to be the 3.14 times the D. So that's what we're going to use here. C equals pi multiplied by D. And that's going to be C equals 3.14 multiplied by 9.2. That's going to be it right there. And then from there, we're going to go and grab that number. And we're going to go ahead and multiply it by 6. And we're done. All right. So a little bit of Australian there. Yeah, just a little bit. And so there we go. Cool. And then again, you multiply by 6 again. So once you have that, then times 6 again for the rotations. 6 rotations. Okay. That's for the 6 rotations. And so once we perform all of the actual math, Parmita, please let me know. What do we get, everybody? Oh, Evan says it as well. 288.88. Is that correct? 288.88. Doesn't seem right there. Yeah, we get 28.88, and then we multiply that by 6, and we end up getting what? 173.32. So yeah, once this is all said and done, once you perform all the calculations, once you calculate and times 6, the answer will be 173 approximately. It'll be approximately 173 inches. So again, I'm not going to do the calculating for y'all. I'm not going to do the calculating. I'm going to show you what the result's going to be. I'll let you confirm the work yourselves. but there she blows right there. Boom. Hey, thanks for watching. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button up here. That way you can get more great content from us, or text ASVAB to that number. That way you can join us for a free class and get a free mini course at the same time. And then look forward to the next video. That way you can continue crushing it and raising your score. Anderson, your ASVAB coach here. See you next time.